Today we're going to bring you the top stoner movies of 2025, and leading the charge on that, the man behind CelebStoner.com. Yeah. A man who's been in the business for a long time on multiple fronts. A long history in the game, making his first appearance on TV Blood. Let's welcome Steve Bloom to the show. What's up, Steve? Hey! Yeah, man. That's right.
That's for you guys.
No, I want a bong rip. What the fuck?
That's family
Nice
right
one.
there.
This is Jane West, the cut glass, her 20s collection. Beautiful.
Oh,
That is a nice
Yes,
piece
jar.
you got there.
Gas jar.
Oh, that looks like something you want to pop a nice cube in and a little, like some whiskey. I think it'd be more like an after dinner drink in
Nice
that
little
thing.
diamond cut going
It
on.
could be a little shot glass, I suppose.
A little shot whiskey
Now,
sipper
look
thing.
what I got inside there. Oh my God. Look
Oh,
at
it's even better.
All right, this is
Oh.
Singapore Sling.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't heard the word Singapore Sling in so fucking long.
From Urban Extracts, New York State. I just judged a contest called MJ Bowl, and that was one of the
Yep.
this is one of the strains. Didn't win, maybe third place, but didn't win. I thought it should have won.
Yeah. And we all have our favorites.
And just for you guys, I'm wearing I love growing marijuana.
Fuck yeah.
See, then you're on the right show, Steve, because that's kind of what we do here. Is we talk about, as you heard already, I'm sure, growing weed. I mean, that's kind of the big thing here.
You guys are a lot better than me, but I certainly give it
doubt
a try. A little bit.
First off, that Singapore Sling you just busted out, Steve, is better than anything I've grown in the last 3 fucking years. Okay, I can tell this guy looking at it.
Oh, yeah.
Get some good stuff.
You got a lot of experience, obviously. See, I didn't think we were going to get out to this growing thing, but now I'm intrigued. What is your method? I'd love to know.
Well, I worked at High Times.
Well, I mean, I know that. I know. I mean,
worked at High Times for 20 years. I know Danny Danko. I know Kyle Cushman. I know Jorge Cervantes. I know Ed Rosenthal. I soaked up all this stuff. That was not what I did at High Times. I wasn't the grow editor or whatever, or the cultivation. Right. I was a senior editor, mostly focusing on entertainment, music, and movies and things like that. Bring celebrities into the magazine on the cover. Diversify the magazine. You can't always put a plant on the cover, can you? I mean, every once in a while,
they did for a long time, but once they started really integrating pop culture in the High Times, I think it took it to the next level. I mean, let's be honest.
Exactly. Snoop Dogg and Willie and all those kind of people appearing regularly in High Times. I did a lot of that. I did a lot of kind of celebrity chasing, hanging out after shows with bands and meeting everybody. And I was the High Times guy, and they wanted to smoke with me, and I brought some good stuff. And I'd end up with whoever. I'd end up with the lead singer or the drummer. It didn't matter. Whoever's the biggest stoner in the band, I'm with them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd probably stick to you like glue also. I mean, oh, Steve's here, shit.
Yeah, the good weed just showed up.
Where's that Singapore Sling?
I remember being backstage at a Primus show, and Les Clayfield was making fun of me and the guitar player who was smoking out because he didn't. He just thought it was funny that we were and he wasn't. But it's just, the way everybody was a little different, You never know who was the big pothead in the band till you met everybody.
Who would be a surprise for people to know that was actually a big stoner that maybe didn't come across that way?
I don't know. Offhand, I can't really come up with something on that. I wish I could give you a straight up answer on that, but
a lot of times you meet people and you're surprised, like, oh shit, you smoke weed. I would not have guessed that. You know what I mean?
Like, just people in general, or celebrity people. Celebrities, keep it kind of close to the vest in terms of what they do. And the ones that I concentrate on are the ones who do smoke, not the ones who don't. And if they don't, I'm not interested.
Right. So, what was your first big land when you were at High Times then? When you were
Cypress Hill.
See, what a time! What a time to do this!
I know, dude.
What?
Cypress Hill. As a matter of fact, Cypress Hill, they have a movie that's on the list that we'll discuss. They had a great year. Those guys just keep traveling all over the world. And they made an album with the London Symphony Orchestra. Talking about live, you got your live show. They did Black Sunday live.
Didn't they also just put out their own strain too? Didn't they just put out their own strain with like Barney's Farm or something? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it's B-Reals. Yeah, B-Real has a strain. Right, He's a strain deal. Yeah, it's B-Real's Dr. Green Thumb, company.
Yes, that was it. Yes.
That's his other business.
Of course.
And and that's doing well, too. On just to brag a little bit, on Black Sunday, the Legalize It track that leads into Hits from the Bong.
Yep.
I am the first voice on that track.
Wait,
Marijuana is the hemp plant. It's used for many other things than just smoking. That I was sampled.
Holy shit!
Sampled me on that song. He asked me for some audio, and I had a tape that I was on, and so was Be Real, and a few other people are on that. If you go back to that track, which is about a minute, it's all people saying things, like pro marijuana statements.
Right.
And I happen to be the first one there. It's really my claim to fame.
That's so awesome. Were you in the studio for that? Or did you just send them something?
No, they sampled me. I was at a music conference, and B Real and me were on a panel, and the panel went off on a whole tangent on weed, and they gave me the tape from the panel, and then when I got a message from Muggs that he was looking for audio with people making speeches about weed, I just gave him. I sent over to the record company. I sent them that and one other thing that ended up on there too. And I didn't expect I would end up on it. I figured, I don't know what I just sent it to him because I didn't have that much, and I just figured he'd use that, and I ended up on the album.
Is that how you got to meet them, to get them?
No, it's otherwise. I mean, I met them because I was the editor at High Times. I just sort of taken over as music editor. I started there as news editor, which is good. I kind of learned a lot, met a lot of people, and then I kind of switched over to the music. Early 90s, Cypress Hill, 91, they break out. We get a call from the record company saying, hey, we got a band for you. And High Times hadn't been doing that much music coverage, but, I'm a music guy. I'm a music journalist. I used to write for Rolling Stone. And so I just decided, High Times needed to freshen up its music coverage then, and hip hop was the way to go. And hip hop was pretty new, on the weed side of things. There really weren't too many people advocating it. Cypress Hill just blew everybody away, with their advocacy. And what they would do on stage with the smoking and stuff like that. This is the middle of the drug war, and they're out there smoking, foot long joint, big Buddha on stage and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah. So those guys, they sent me the music. I liked it, and we set up an interview. And they came to New York, and they were in town for a show. They played the Apollo Theater, and they were the last band on the bill that night with like Naughty by Nature and Black Sheep and those sort of early 90s groups.
A show that would have been just to go to see,
What a show, right? But Cypress Hill was pissed off that they were the fifth band on the bill. I was with them afterwards at the hotel, and they were grumbling and fuck them. So not that they were mad at Naughty by Nature, but just in general that they weren't being respected. And so anyway, the next day we had a photo shoot scheduled for them, and it was like a 9 a.m. shoot, which was really early for any kind of High Times shoot. But that was the time that the photographer could do it. And those guys were there right on time. They were so excited to be at the High Time shoot. We did a great shoot. I could show it to you, but I don't want to step away. But the cover that we did in '92 with the three guys like on top, and then the big mound of pot below. Muggs is holding on to, and the two guys holding blunts. And then the centerfold was How to Roll a Blunt by Be Real. He just told me that, and I basically turned it into by him. So it was from the interview I did with him in that article. So yes, that was the first, and then that same year we had the Black Crowes on the cover. So it's kind of like that was High Times, like rock, hip hop, reggae, metal, whatever, right? You have a pretty broad musical spectrum of what people like, and that was fun for me because honestly I wasn't a metal guy, but there was so many metal bands like Pantera into weed. I got into metal too.
Fuck yeah, dude.
They invite me to your show. I'm probably gonna like it. So I mean, I just opened my ears a little bit, but for the most part, I came there more with a knowledge of like the Dead and hip hop and R&B and the stuff that I personally like. And hip hop was good for me because I have an R&B background. I'm from New York, and hip hop came out of New York. I'm really from the Bronx, where hip hop is from. I'm in the Bronx,
right around the corner
from now, where hip hop is from.
Right.
I don't rap, but I am from home base for me. So it's very close. And so it was a good tie-in. And then on top of that, after Cypress Hill was in the magazine, then a lot of hip hop artists wanted to do the same, at least be in the magazine, if not on the cover. Right. And so we had a photo shoot. The next '93, we did a photo shoot with Redman and Brand Nubian. And they both came and we didn't know who was going to end up on the cover. And Redman just killed it. And so he was better just as one guy with the blunt on the cover versus Brand Nubian, who kind of, I don't know, they just didn't quite nail it. So we put Redman on the cover that year, and the Brand Nubian story was in the middle of the magazine. And then we continued. The other big one on the hip hop side was in '96 with Wu-Tang.
It had to be.
You're me goosebumps right now, Steve. As a musician myself, man, I just
that was a serious blunted cover, and that was done in Staten Island at their house. I don't know, back then maybe at a house where a lot of the guys lived at or something. And we hung around there for hours waiting for Method Man, and nothing really happened. Everybody was just smoking out and getting more and more ripped. And they were smoking the front. They were smoking the Fronta blunts, you know. The fresh leaf stuff.
Yeah, with the grabber.
And, which got me even higher. And but then Meth comes in and everything's solidified. Once he was there, they're ready to go. It seems like they couldn't do it without him. And so he ended up on the cover, and then all the guys on the inside. And then all over the years, I mean, not just hip hop, but a lot of artists, we featured in the magazine, a lot of reggae artists, Bob Marley, all the kids. I mean, had Ziggy. That was kind of a goal of mine when I went to High Times, was to get the Marleys back in the magazine. Bob was on the 1976 cover. It's one of the famous issues of High Times. It's, big mound of weed. Bob loved High Times. He didn't do a lot of interviews. And then years later, I get there and Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers are kind of big at the time. And I figured, why not get Ziggy in there? And at first, the people at the record company were a little dismissive. I don't think so. But then the next album came out, and I got a call saying kind of the same thing. Ziggy wants to do the interview. So as long as they asked him and said, hey, High Times is asking, then Ziggy said yes. If you don't tell him, then he doesn't know. So he knew. And so we got that interview. And that really opened the door to a great relationship with the Marley family.
How do you even initiate that contact? Like, that's
great. You do it through record company people. In their case, it's Tough Gong is their label and their management. So you said there was one guy who really helped us out a lot, and then the record company people on the other side who, like publicists, they'll set things up if they, I think it was a little hot to be in High Times back then. Just the early '90s, and it wasn't really something everybody was doing. So I think at first they had to see more artists and bands on the cover for them. Oh, who else has been on the cover? Then you show them, oh, this one, that one, that one. Okay, we'll do it. We got a call in 1999 from Ozzy Osbourne's people. He wanted to be on the cover.
Legend. And High Times at that time was booming. 1999.
Crazy, right? And so
me too. Every month.
And Ozzy supposley sober. Comes to a High Times photo shoot with we had a huge bag of weed there. He was so, R.I.P. Ozzy. He was really sweet at that interview. And he had this big bag. We had kind of like a pillow kind of size bag, weed filled up, like a pound or whatever. He just loved that bag of weed. He was like jumping around the room like, look what I've got, the bag of weed. And then the other thing was it was like a little kid with all the weed. And then afterwards, we would kind of rent that stuff from dealers and then give it back to them, and they'd pay them for what we use or whatever, and that was a lot of shortage on that one. Ozzy and Tony Iommi and their managers, they were all pocketing weeds like we. They could have just asked. We always gave people, gifts after the shoot, but I think they got to another record studio and the word got around that they had all this weed that they'd stolen from the High Times photo shoot. I got in the New York Post the next day because our publisher decided to leak it. Thinks it's a good story. Ozzy Osbourne and his crew stole weed from High Times at a photo shoot. It was in the newspaper.
I want to know what kind of dealer you had that you could rent weed, because that to me
back in the day. I mean, when it was less accessible, back in the day when it was less accessible. Now, obviously, you could get pounds and pounds and pounds from all the legal companies, this and that. But whomever. Back then, even there were times. There was a Snoop Dogg interview we did where we had a couple of guys running around town trying to get something really good during kind of a dry period. It might have been summertime or something, and there wasn't that much around. And that was a little scary because Snoop's there at the photo shoot. He's waiting for us. He's waiting for the weed, and then these guys show up. We got this. We got it. And I didn't see it yet, but I trusted those guys. And he gives it to Snoop to open up a big bag and just puts his whole head in it. And gives a big smell and then steps out. I was like, yeah, that's like, The interview is on. He might have walked out the door if he didn't like it.
See, my thing is like, why the fuck would Snoop Dogg not show something like this with his own weed? You would think that man, everywhere he goes, he'd have a sack of weed like Santa Claus.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean, the Snoop stuff is very funny because, again, this is, Snoop Dogg, early 2000s, let's say,
Yep.
Interviews with Snoop Dogg and stuff like that. And he started hanging out with High Times. I mean, we did that interview, gave him some weed. The funny part of that interview, the photo shoot, he's doing the photo shoot. We give him some gift weed, some really nice, cola buds, whatever. And it's like, not enough. I want more. So now it becomes a negotiation that he wants to buy the whole thing or whatever, whatever we have, he wants it. And that was the other guys from the staff. Let them handle it. Whatever they did, they did. Next day, he comes up to the office for the interview. And at that interview, he comes up and he wants more weed.
Oh my God, yo! So he
We had to
smoked
send somebody out to
already?
get him while we do the interview, the whole thing. But he was really sweet. He sat in my office, literally in my personal office there, and he signed autographs for everybody on the staff, and everybody had a little line out the door, and everybody came in and gave him something he signed. He was really sweet. I mean, I don't know if he's not as accessible these days, and obviously a much bigger star, but back then, we were really tight with him.
Damn, yo!
That's fucking gotta be so dope.
All right, I'll join you for another rip.
Please.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, imagine just having that conversation with Snoop Dogg. He just sit down and like, yo, what up, player? I'm gonna need me another one of them fat sacks, homie. And he's so sweet, and he got his feet all cuffed up and shit with his ponytail.
Definitely got his feet up on the desk,
bro.
100%.
Cross with their ponies out and shit.
Yep.
Couple Dobermans behind him. He just,
Dobermans.
player. So about that pack you promised.
You guys are hilarious.
Oh,
Hilarious. That's a new one.
And Peasy, you remind me of Seth Rogen. You got this deep voice with the laugh, and I bet you could do a real good Seth imitation with a good deep guffaw, right? There you go. You need a Seth Rogen impersonator. We got Peasy.
Trust me, I know. Not the first time I've been told that.
You should hear about me promo.
Oh, stop it, yo.
All right. So we're gonna talk movies.
Yes. Sorry. No, listen.
It's okay. No, I got going. You get me going with these High Time stories.
I love music, dude. I can listen to your stories all fucking day. Do you have a book, bro?
Thank you.
Find the story.
Because I know one of our comments was, does Steve have a book? What an adventure.
Yeah, it really was. High Times was quite the adventure, overall, definitely.
You need a biography, bro, an autobiography. You need to get your memoirs together now.
Thanks for that. I'm gonna use this clip that you say, and then I'm gonna sell it based off of what you said.
Yes,
right?
clip that because I'm gonna come back.
Because people are asking for it. The people, just give the people what they want. I have something up my sleeve that I'm working on, but I'm not going to reveal it now. But I have some project that's going to kind of be good for me for next year or this year now. So, and it's related to High Times.
Oh.
Not with High Times, but related to work that I did initially with High Times.
Right. To be part of that.
And by the way, big up to High Times for making a comeback this year.
Hell yeah.
They're coming. Yeah.
Yup.
It's a big change from printing to doing online. You know what I mean? But
yeah, no, just overall, the team is, they're repairing, what went wrong. Obviously, the company lost a lot of money for various reasons, went into debt, went into receivership, was sold, was bought by Josh Kesselman, who owns Raw.
Right.
Raw is a pretty revered company, I think, in cannabis overall, and Josh is a good guy. And he teamed up with a High Times guy named Max Stang, who I know I work with. He was a younger guy when I was there. And so it was a good sort of way of teaming up with somebody from the original staff that we had, in the last 15, 20 years. And then, with Raw and his, abilities to do what he does. And Josh is a great marketer. So, he'll just market the crap out of High Times. And anyway, and they're rebounding, which is nice.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into this. I want to talk some movies here. We're gonna talk top stoner movies 2025, and who better than to ask the man who's been covering entertainment, movies, and music for fucking ever at this point. So, Steve Bloom, I know
Yeah,
you have the master
just
list.
to prove
Reaper
it.
Movie Madness.
That's my book.
Oh,
Written with Shirley Halperin, 2010. So this is about 600 movies that have some sort of drug themes, more or less, or druggy movies, stony movies.
Let's talk 2025 for stoner movies, because I feel like there wasn't that many
bangers.
Not just bangers, but like not as many like outright stoner movies. You know what I mean? Like
Well, right. It depends what you call a stoner movie. And if you're thinking of Cheech and Chong and Harold and Kumar, yeah. And I've noted that in the last few years that, it's sort of an impact of legalization that those sort of movies are not being made anymore. They really were thumbing your nose at the establishment type movies, that we just put out the movie and we're going to do it. We don't care, whatever the storyline is. But now, that's kind of a little past tense. So I don't see that happening as much. So I would agree with you, but you still, there's still movies out there that qualify. We had an award show at High Times called the Stonies, and we would give awards to the movies that we thought. And this was again, right at that era, with Half Baked and Big Lebowski and, How High, and all these movies coming out around the same time. That's not happening now. That era is over. I think the last really strong era that was really stony and had sort of maybe a certain style was Rogan, and all his guys making, Neighbors and Pineapple Express and all the movies they made.
Pineapple Express was such a good fucking stoner movie.
Knocked Up was a good one, and it wasn't even a big,
I know, but like
stoner movie.
Pineapple Express really like nailed the stoner vibe for like a movie so well. And the other one was like the End of the World one they did.
That was great. That was great too. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Was a really well done fucking movie for what the theme was. I was
even that.
Right, and so all of that whole period, even 40-year-old Virgin, and all those movies that came out of like Judd Apatow and Rogan, all those people writing these movies, that was all kind of a scene of all these people together doing it, and that's a little past tense too. Now that's kind of evolved into what Rogan's doing now with the Studio TV show, which won all these Emmy Awards. And by the way, the Studio has a very stony element to it. If you never watched it, there's a great mushrooms episode that kind of like peaks the show towards the end. It's an outstanding mushrooms episode that's really a two episodes. It ends and begins after the next one. It's like the last two. Unbelievably great. But anyway, on the movie side, I agree with you, but I will say that I have like a top 3, and then I have 7 others that just qualify in my mind for, the best of the year. Grassland is number 1, and Grassland is an independent movie that most people haven't heard, but it really hits the subject really hard. It's about a woman who grows at home. She sells a little bit, makes tinctures for like medical purposes. A friend of hers, she's Hispanic. Friend of hers is black. He sells a little bit of her stuff, delivers, and everything's going okay until a cop moves into the building. And this guy snits them out. And he's a real mean bastard. And it really kind of upsets their whole lives. The character played by Quincy Isaiah gets busted. Then that guy, the cop, kind of seizes the moment when he finds out she does have the plants and then goes in. But she kind of gets away, but I don't want to give up too much. But just the whole idea of what people of color have dealt with for years regarding cannabis. This is set in like 2008, drug war years, and people of color dealing with these problems that all of us have had to in so many ways, but them more so. I just feel like the movie just nails it. William Bermudez and Sam Friedman. It's on, Apple and other streaming services. So I just wanted to give a big up to that because, lesser known movie, but really hits the theme that matters to me and others is, the activist push to change the laws and what you have to do to get there. The second one is. Go ahead,
it's to me, it shows where we're at in the times right now.
Right.
Where your number 1 movie for an entertainment magazine is like a seriously toned movie.
Well, let me just clarify my definition of the stoner movie. I mean, there's the stoner comedy, which we've discussed, and there's stoner movies in general, or drug movies, or druggy dramas, I call them. Any movie with drugs in it is a stoner movie.
Right.
Okay.
No matter what they're doing, coke, heroin, whatever.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. All right.
My book here covers it all. We have a thing here where it shows what it shows you got a bong, you got. I mean, you're gonna have needles here, like the symbol. If there's a needle in the movie, you should know. Not that it's bad, just that it's there. Anyway, but the primary theme behind most of this is weed and psychedelics, generally speaking. That's really the main thing. But there's a lot of coke in movies. Tons of coke in movies over the years.
It really is. I feel like there's more so now than ever. It's like
it's made a comeback. It's made a comeback. And what's popular these days, what you'll see in like movie 8 here that I have, or movie 9, Good Fortune, with Rogan in it. There's only thing that really qualifies that movie to be on this list is Rogan being in it. And there's a little gag about him going to an ayahuasca retreat. And you see him going there. It's local, like in LA, but he's there laying back, whatever. But it's just sort of a side joke, really, in the movie, as opposed to anything deeply meaningful. But that's kind of why I included that. So gummies and ayahuasca and mushrooms are now kind of the code words in Hollywood when you're talking about drugs, because weed is a little passe, and coke's making a little bit of a comeback. Weed's not passe, but in the movie, for guys to be hotboxing or sitting downstairs in the basement and and steaming out a room, it's just kind of, that's a little passe.
Yeah, it's played. Yeah,
it's been done so much.
Here in the basement.
But this is natural. We're not making a movie.
Interestingly, I can kind of, I'm kind of weaving around on this one instead. Like my number 3 is One Battle After Another. Sean Penn has a major role in that movie. Sean Penn was Spicoli. Yeah. So all these years later, now he's in this movie, which has drug themes, which mostly around Leo DiCaprio's character's pot smoking.
Great movie. I just finished it this morning. It was awesome.
I'm happy you watched it. Good that it's on. It's good that it's on HBO now, and it's accessible.
It's on my watch list. I've been wanting to see that one.
It starts off so it almost feels like a Quentin Tarantino start to the movie.
Right.
The way it's almost cut up. And
I love that shit. Say less. I'm in.
But it's not. That's just my take of it. I'm not like a big movie.
I watched that shit tonight.
It's a very strong movie that I think is going to win the Best Picture Oscar. It's right now ahead of everything. There's nothing else that's really in its way. Maybe Sinners, great. Sinners was awesome. There's no real backlash on anything in that movie. It's like, it came out with a lot of hype and buzz, and that buzz has stayed high, and not too many people are taking it down. So I don't like this movie, or too much hype, because it's such an interesting story. It's kind of brings, takes you back to kind of the 70s and brings it up to the present. The 70s being when things were seriously radical, and there were armed revolutionary groups out there, building bombs and robbing banks and using guns and violent tactics to achieve their goals. And this movie replicates that to some degree with the organization that Caprio's part of it. He builds bombs and things like that. And his girlfriend, Titania Taylor's character, Perfidia, she's really hardcore, leading this organization that's trying to liberate the beginning of the movie, that detention camp underneath the highway. And there's a really heavy scene in that, and they succeed. But they don't always succeed. So next battle, Perfidia gets caught. And that sets off the whole situation with Sean Penn's character, who's the Colonel Lockjaw guy who has an obsession with her because she's so sexy.
And what incredible cast. Sean Penn, these characters, I'm telling you, they make you feel like the tenseness, the anxiety that's as a stoner watching this dude Leo's character. Bro, Bob is out there. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, Bob, some people are comparing to, say, Big Lebowski dude, where he's just kind of like slacking. He's drinking, he's smoking, he can't remember a thing. It's that funny scene where he can't remember the code. And,
the scene, half the movie, I can't remember.
He can't remember the code that's going to help him find his daughter who's been kidnapped by Lockjaw.
Yeah, oh man.
It's a real twisty kind of story. And it ends with a real twisty ending with an amazing car chase.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw that in the theater, and it's fabulous in the theater. I'd almost rather see it in an IMAX. Yeah, because they're going up and down hills and around and around. It reminds me of some of the car chases.
77-inch TV. I'm gonna be sitting there tonight.
It reminds me of these things. You remember those crazy car chases in the early Mad Max movies?
Yes,
where they kind of did the collisions and they're going around and around, and then all of a sudden the truck goes into the car or whatever. It was kind of like that. You know, it was just really just like
I mean, it's got like that air. It's got that
a lot of up and down. A lot of the cinematography is amazing. It's a lot of up and down the hills.
I love that shit, bro. I
hold on to your seats. That last couple of minutes, 5-10 minutes. That chase is amazing. So anyway, I don't know. I think it's great, and it kind of brings things together. So Benicio del Toro has a good character who he's in the later part of the movie, which is 16 years later. The timeline's a little off to me because to me it feels like this is really set in the late 60s, early 70s when that stuff was happening. And then they say 16 years later, he's raising his daughter, but they're acting like it's the present because they're dealing with ice now. If you noticed in the movie, the last battle is against ice, the tension. So, and pretty much it kind of, and the daughter who was born, and the storyline is that, Lockjaw's character is obsessed with the daughter because he thinks it's hers. Yep. It's his. I'm sorry. He thinks it's his. Yep. Because he had sex with Perfidia as part of her deal. As part of her deal to get.
You gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a complicated movie. I had to watch it twice to really get it.
I did too. That's what when I said I finished it. It was the second time I watched it. Yeah, 2 days ago I started. My wife was like, "What the fuck?"
I will recommend though for the full, full movie, see it in the theater and then watch it at home, like what I did. But anyway, yeah, to me, it's so the other thing about it that I really like and what I like to focus on this time of year during award season is where's marijuana within the theme of the awards and who's going to win? Like last year, it was Kieran Culkin, who was the pothead in just thinking that movie with Jesse Eisenberg. And he won every award. And his whole character was getting stoned throughout the movies. So it's like they were lauding this guy who was a stoner. I look for that when the mainstream, world out there, the award givers and stuff like that recognize, a weed smoking character. That's not a bad thing. It's just whatever thing, they just acknowledge who he is, whether he's wacky or not, or smart or dumb, whatever it is that they find into him, they think about him. So I don't know. So that's the other thing I like about it. So I'm going to be watching this straight through the award season to see. I don't think DiCaprio is going to win a lot of awards, but I do think the movie's going to win a lot.
I think that whole cast crew and the movie itself, it was phenomenal. Everything put together, tied together,
and the music is good too. Yeah, the music is done by one of the what's his name, Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead.
Dude, the whole shit, it was
so good
from top to bottom. Like I said, it was a little the way it started off was kind of different from what I'm used to seeing. So
it's a long intro to the movie. I think the title sequence is in it for 20 minutes or so.
Holy shit! What?
And that's what I'm telling my wife. I'm like, look at this. She says, "What the fuck you watching?" I said, "I don't know. Look at the trailer."
It's 2 hours and 40 minutes or so, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a long movie. So
yeah, how long is it?
It's a whole movie.
40 or so.
No, it's a whole movie. It's how long is it? 2 hours and change.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a special movie, and also the director Paul Thomas Anderson's quite a great director. It's kind of a crowning achievement for him, I think. So I think he'll win Best Director. It'll win Best Picture, and it'll win some side awards in terms like the supporting. But I don't think DiCaprio will win for some reason. I just don't think he's not getting that great of reviews for his part, and people seem to think that maybe Taylor or Infinity, the younger actress, or even Benicio might win awards, and they're going to win other awards in the special categories, maybe cinematography.
Every time he's in a movie, it's going to be fire.
Benicio del Toro.
Every time he's in a movie,
he's great. He's great. You want more of him in this movie, honestly. Don't you want a little more of Benicio? He's kind of there's not enough of him.
I felt like there was going to be when he kind of pushed him off with the other. I was like, what?
The movie could slip into a whole Sicario theme,
Yeah, real good. It was a great.
Do we have time for more, or are we running out?
Oh, please, let's go.
Oh,
we didn't even get to number 2 yet. We got more. Go ahead.
Okay, number 2 is Cheech and Chong's last movie. So there's a documentary that came out this year, and it's a career retrospective done by director Dave Bichelle. Really nice job. Just generally, like so many good documentaries. They dig back, they get good footage, they good interviews. What makes this stand out is that besides all that historical stuff, they get into a vehicle, a big sedan, and they drive out into the desert somewhere, I guess, east of LA, and they just reminisce in the car. And it seems like it's fairly improv. I mean, they say, let's I mean, they start with something, and then it seems like, because they're very improv guys, they're just talking about stuff, and then gradually, what Cheech and Chong will do in person, if they're just doing not their comedy routine, but if they're together, they'll start arguing because they don't get along oftentimes, and that's why they broke up as a group. And Cheech came back to the group because he felt bad for Tommy. He had gotten busted and went to jail. And thought, okay, let bygones be bygones, whatever their issues were. Tommy kind of bullied Cheech over the years, like not hit him and stuff, but I'm 8 years older. I'm the boss. I know. Shut up. Kind of
you told the older card, I know better.
Yep. Yeah, he did. And so Cheech had to be liberate by leaving. He had to leave Cheech and Chong to liberate himself. And he had a very successful film career. And Chong has never had. Awesome. Chong ended up on 70 Show, and that was his big comeback. But other than that, he didn't do well in movies. He's in Zootopia. He's in Zootopia right now. He's got a voice.
I mean, let's be honest. We all knew from the movies.
What is he in Zootopia? I forget his character.
I think Cheech was always the one that had the personality, the character that drew you in. Like, Chong always played just the laid back,
right? Exactly. So right. So Cheech left it behind a little bit to be successful, and Tommy would never break the character. And Tommy gave Cheech a hard time. He said, Nash Bridges, he played a cop, and he would always kind of hit him. He's like, Cheech played a cop. You fucking.
Shit too. Was he in Dusk Till Dawn and shit?
He was.
Yeah, he did a lot of fucking movies, It was all random shit, though.
Yeah, but take gigs. It's kind of like Jim Belushi, who I know these days, and Belushi's in the weed industry, and Belushi's been in a ton of B movies, and Cheech has done the same, a lot of B movies. You just see him in a lot of things.
Right.
So anyway, so the arguments just make the movie a little more real. That they're not having a big fight, but they're disagreeing about things, and it's just it's nice. It's just nice to see the end of their career. I don't see them making any more movies. They're just Tommy's 87. Cheech is going to turn 80 this year.
It's crazy to think about. Holy shit.
I think they're done with any more narrative movies like, Up in Smoke 2 or something. I don't think they're coming back. And, but they're busy with their business too. They got Cheech and Chong Cannabis. It's actually pretty popular.
Their social media's popping. They're all over that,
Yeah, they're all over stuff. They're very active. They have good business partners and stuff like that. So good for them. Happy for them. I've known them for years, and especially Tommy, who I really just love. I had the opportunity to do one-on-one interviews like you're doing at the International Cannabis Business Conference. I toured around with them with Tommy as me and him doing a one-on-one. Did 5 different programs with him in different parts of the world, Vancouver, Berlin, San Francisco. Each one, Vancouver is probably the best because he's from Canada. So he could tell his old stories of when he left Calgary, from the farmland and went to Vancouver and became a hippie or whatever, and started becoming who he became. He's always into music, Tommy, and he was in a Motown band back in the 60s. People don't know that.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he was. He was in a Motown band. He was in a band with Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers. Bobby Taylor was a black singer, and they had one big hit. It's interesting life stories. So Chong, I'm just happy to see that. I mean, as far as the rest of the movies, so then we get into kind of a mixed bag of stuff. Deep Cover is it's just a fun movie. It's these comedians who go undercover to break crimes and stuff, but they're hired by police to do it.
Of course you have.
They need the money. They're good on their feet, talking about improv. They're good on their feet. It's kind of hilarious.
It's Bryce Dallas Howard, who's always great.
Right. And Orlando Bloom he plays the heavy. And he's crazy. He wants to, it's like acting part. I'm acting the heavy guy. And and they do crazy things, which he didn't think he's capable of. But it's just fun. It's a British movie. So it's everybody's British in the movie except the lady. Orlando Bloom's not. Is he British?
I think he is. The lady.
But she's not. She's Ron Howard. She's Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah. She's the American that's over there trying to do have her studio or some shit going, and she runs a comedy studio. Yeah, it was great.
That's it. She run. Yeah, right. She's running an improv studio, place to go for classes to learn how to be comedians, and get on stage and just just people learn. So she picks up to another guy the other guy, there's druggy elements to this because they're dealing with the whole drug underworld that they uncover.
Yeah, the underworld.
And it's the mean Albanians. There's always the Albanians are the bad ones in Europe these days. And when it comes to heavy drugs, they're dealing the cocaine or whatever. There's one scene where the third guy, this guy here, I'm forgetting his name.
That's the dude from Ted, isn't it? That show on Apple TV.
I don't have Apple TV.
You've never seen Ted, bro?
The show, like
Ted?
Not Ted. No, not Ted. That's not
I
it.
was gonna say Ted. The
That's
teddy
the fucking.
bear.
That's the teddy bear one. What the fuck am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Ted Lasso.
Is he Lasso?
Yes, he is. He's one of the guys that ran the soccer team with him.
All right, good call. He's got the scene where they're dealing with the cocaine, and of course they have to show that they have to somebody has to try the coke, as they're the undercovers. Bro. So he's the one who ends up doing the coke, and he gets completely wasted.
This is like
I'm gonna have to watch all these.
Throw it on your must watch because
I'm telling you, I wouldn't put a movie on these lists if I don't think they're worthy. Honestly, now Caught Stealing. There's two main reasons why you could watch that movie. Austin Butler, who basically doesn't make a bad movie. And I
that's the Elvis dude, right?
This one
Elvis dude. If you didn't like Elvis, then you're not going to probably like Austin Butler and anything else. But he was great as Elvis, I thought. And then Darren Aronofsky, who's a great filmmaker. This is his movie, Caught Stealing, set in the 80s in New York. It's just a gritty New York movie where he's a bartender and his next door neighbor is a punk guy who's dealing ecstasy. And he owes some bad guys money. They come to the apartment. He's not there. They knock on the door, Butler's door. They beat up Butler because Butler won't give up where the guy's staying or storage. It just becomes a crazy run around New York. Butler's trying to stay one step ahead of the lunacy, and meanwhile getting beat up a lot. And but managing to survive it. He's all beat up. Look at it in his face. He's all beat up.
He's all beat up in this with this tone of the movie. P. I'd almost say has that Pineapple Express. We got an urgency. We got to hurry up and do something.
Especially the last third of Pineapple Express when it kind of gets heavy. It
gets heavy. Yeah, that's what I mean when it's all running from the drug dealers.
Yeah, it's the gang dealers, or you have to deal with the gang dealers. You have to fight the gang dealers. There's a whole thing with a storage unit and where the stuff is and. It's a convoluted story, but it's just fun. I just like Butler in anything.
Damn, I've seen all these movies, bro. Let's keep going. This was a good one.
The Cypress Hill movie is Black Sunday, live at Albert Hall, the Royal Albert Hall. It's Black Sunday. Cypress Hill and the London Symphony Orchestra are performing Black Sunday. So Cypress Hill started doing this with, say, I don't know, the Rhode Island Symphony or a few other symphonies, maybe the Colorado. And they worked up a arrangement of all the Black Sunday songs, and then they took a step up and they went over to England. I mean, Royal Albert Hall is like one of the great places. That's like Carnegie Hall, and their composer there or their conductor, they work with the guy there. I think the main guy, I forget his name, and he put together a beautiful arrangement of the album. It's just stunning. If you're a fan of Black Sunday, which I tell you I am since I'm on it, and by the way. In their performance,
or anything.
in the performance, in the movie. So there's a movie you can also listen to it. This album, CD, or whatever form you want to listen to it. CDs, But I actually have an album of it, literally LP or vinyl. And it's there's that section at the bleed in to Hiss from the Bong and Legalize It. My song, the band is churning out strings and stuff. There's a lot going on, so you can hardly hear my little part. To be honest, I was straining in the movie theater. I was like, but I know I'm there. I've told B Real, listen, next time you do this live, bring me and I'll do my part. Anyway, so
the song, that clip you do on the song, is that the same clip Method Man uses on 421 the day after the album?
Does he use the legal?
Make marijuana legal. Make marijuana.
Well, that's something different. That's not a chant. And this is just
my
thing, and then a few things. That 3 or 4 voices over a minute.
Yeah, we can't play it now. Copyright real fast.
I'm going to research that shit.
Mine is like 5 seconds. I mean, if you're a fan of Cypress Hill, and if you're a fan of like sort of classical music, which I'm not. I mean, so it's I would think classical meets hip hop. By the way, Nas just did something like that. So
Young Jeezy just did something like this. Even Metallica's done something like this. Like,
going way back in the earlier rock period, the Moody Blues used to play with symphony orchestras all the time. So I mean, yeah, but Cypress Hill, they are always on the cutting edge. So they're doing something nobody's really doing or significantly. So they just as my love for them, they get high up on this list. The next one is Echo Valley. You'll probably have a little fun with this because Sydney Sweeney's in it. She's the daughter of Julianne Moore. She's the bad girl, naughty, druggy girl, keeps on getting in trouble, in and out of rehab, driving her mom crazy. Kind of seen this character before.
She's a role that she plays all the time. Like isn't it? Euphoria and shit,
exactly.
Right?
I mean, Euphoria, the bad girl, Right. And I mean, even in Christie, which I didn't see, the boxing movie, I hear she's also has a drug problem in that movie. So she's got a drug problem in this movie, and she drives her mom crazy to the point that Sweeney's character accidentally kills her she has two boyfriends, and he kills him somehow, or I'm forgetting. I haven't watched the movies in a while. And then the guy's in a car, and the mother comes and she helps push the car into the lake. So she now covers up this murder. At that point, I kind of like the movie. I kind of lost me a bit. But
after that,
I haven't seen this. It's on Apple.
It's on Apple, so it's kind of free if you're Apple. But I mean, just Julianne Moore's always good. Sweeney's interesting, obviously, for just her popularity, right. And I don't know, just and it's druggy because she's got a drug problem. The documentary that I have here at number 8 is In Waves and War, which is a really interesting documentary about Navy SEALs who are fucked up from being in Afghanistan. 3 guys, and one by one they go to a treatment in Mexico where they take ibogaine and toad venom.
Toad venom.
Yeah, ibogaine is like a drug. It tricks your brain to give up shit you're addicted to or something.
Right, exactly. So that's the first thing that I've heard about. I've heard about that for years. That's what it's an interrupter, right? And but it's a heavy trip. It's like a 12-hour, 24-hour thing. Right. You have to be really supervised. You can't have heart problems, things like that. Some people have died taking this medicine. It has happened. So you have to be really careful that it's the right clinic and this and that. They went to Mexico where these clinics are happening, one of the places, and to them it was a little hippie for these soldier guys, but especially the third guy who had a little hard time dealing with the whole thing. But each guy talks the other guy into going, and now 3 of them go. By the last one, they're all together helping each other out. It's kind of beautiful to watch these guys embracing these things that we've been kind of embracing for years, whether it's ibogaine or something else, but psychedelics that really alter you in significant ways, and we've been jailed for that over the years too, right? So that's not okay to do, and now it's more okay because it's being medicalized, just like weed became more okay when it was medicalized. So this movie really shows these guys, taking the risk. And by the way, the animation is really cool in the movie. Each guy, when they do their trips, they're animated, and you see them kind of free falling each time, and then something else happens. But it's really neat animation. You almost feel like that's probably what it's like. So it's really nicely done. I think it's probably those 2 documentaries on the list are very good. I mentioned Good Fortune. Now, Good Fortune. Seth Rogen plays a rich guy, and he ends up trading places with a poor guy. And the poor guy is Aziz Ansari. It's his movie. He's the director and writer. Keanu Reeves is an angel. Keanu Reeves is hovering above the whole thing with a group of angels who are trying to prevent people from killing each other. His case, he's supposed to prevent texting so people won't have accidents from texting and driving. A little bit of a gag, right? Really? So the thing is, Ansari's character works at a hardware store. He's living in his car. Whatever reason, he doesn't have any money to pay the rent, and he's doing odd jobs. So the other odd job is deliveries. He does a delivery, ends up delivering to Rogen's place, posh place up in the hills, and he talks Rogen into hiring him as an assistant by giving him a couple of good ideas.
Oh shit!
So next thing you know, the angel steps in, kind of decides, hey, wouldn't it be good if you traded places? So it's trading places. So now, Rogen, he flip-flops them, and Rogen, and Ansari's living in the rich house, and Rogen's in the flop house.
Where can we see this one at?
This one I watched on TV as well. I mean, everything I watched on streamers. I mean, this just came out in like December, but it didn't do that well, so it's already out on. It's already streaming for like $5.99. It's not like the 14 or 19.99.
I'm sure it's on one of the apps.
I think Amazon has it streaming right now.
It's okay. I mean, all these things are affordable in terms of like Grasslands is probably a $3 or $4, $5.99, and One Battle is free now.
You just come over and watch it at your house, bro. Use my Apple TV.
And then, so it's just that's kind of story. It's kind of fun. For Keanu fans, I might like Hit because he's Keanu. Yeah. He's just Keanu. That's all there is to it. If you like Keanu, then you're gonna like him in this movie.
Three guys are funny. You know it's gonna be good.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of fun part. And Rogan's in it. Rogan's always got the guffaw. He's got the guffaw going. And I don't know. There's a lot of good characters. I mean, there's and it's Ansari's comeback. He was Me Too'd.
Yeah,
he had a thing with the girlfriend, and he did stuff he shouldn't have done to his girlfriend, whatever, or date he had with somebody turned on him.
My God, bro! Facial for someone.
The woman wrote an article about what he did or bad behavior that he did that night. It wasn't. He didn't rape her, but it wasn't. Whatever it was, she was upset. So I should be a little more knowledgeable about it. I'm not saying. Well, I'm not minimizing what's happened. I'm not saying. I just don't remember exactly what her claims are. But anyway, he survived that. Because it wasn't that bad.
He hasn't done anything since that movie.
So now he's back with a movie. So watching a little bit of like what's he trying to do in this movie? Oh, angels and trying to make things better. I don't know. And then lastly, we just you mentioned Spinal Tap and the final movie. I wouldn't have put it on the list until Rob Reiner was killed by his son, and I decided to watch the movie, and I just wanted to pay tribute, to another great effort by Rob Reiner. You guys watch it?
Have not yet.
Nope. It just came out on the streamers as well on HBO. So I watched it. I mean, there's a bunch of other ones I probably could have put in there. There's one other movie that there's a movie that's set in the African desert. That's like a guy is seeking out somebody who's at a rave, and it's getting a lot of rave reviews, but it's not available yet. It's just out, but it's not in theaters and it's not on TV. It's going to be out now. And there's a few other movies that I just didn't see that I could have to fit on this list. But so it's a kind of it's not maybe maybe it's not a great list, but it's just what's there.
It's solid if you ask me. Yeah, you got a lot of good fucking shit on there.
I'm not absolutely raving. I mean, when Deep Cover's your number 4, maybe it's not the greatest, but Deep Cover fits into the more stoner comedy element of it. Just wild and crazy storyline.
I can't wait to watch that Leo movie.
Leo movie is great.
I mean, there's no cocaine bear in the mix. So that was the big winner a couple years ago.
That was a good one.
That's all right though. We can do without the cocaine bear. We'll be fine without that one. So listen, Steve, dude, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us on 2B Blood, giving us the rundown. Top stoner movies of the last year. Make sure y'all go check them out. We'll put the list up on Instagram. We'll put the link up to CelebStoner so you can check out the list for yourself if you want to go back, see what's going on. Maybe get up there, watch a little Sun tonight. You know the deal. Steve, bro, you're a fucking legend, man. I'd love to have you back on and talk more about your stories and shit. You got so much we could have covered.
This hits for you guys. All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for expanding this and let me talk a little longer. I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you coming on, dude.
Okay.
Peace.